Hey everyone, welcome to Changing Gears. I'm your host, Kat Shoulders, and I'm joined today by our lead photographer at Worn and Wound, Mr. Garrett Jones. What's going on, Garrett?
Just staying busy. Got a lot of things in the
Same.
pipeline, so it's a lot of prep work and just getting
Yeah.
things done on the checklist. How
Yeah,
about you?
it's been super busy for all of us here at Worn and Wound. Summer is a really busy time. I think honestly, after Watches and Wonders, it seems like it's just nonstop until maybe post Chicago windup, maybe kind of slows down a little bit after that, but it's truly been nonstop. We've had a lot of really cool things happening. We added a new windup this year. If you didn't know that, we added Dallas, which kind of added to a lot of our travels and in schedules. And we're going to talk about travel today. I'm really excited. I feel like I've been all around the world like the last 45 days or so. And
You
want
kind
to
of
just
have been.
I know, but I've done some really cool trips, so I'm excited to talk about them. And then you having a really exciting trip that we're going to talk about too, and maybe talk about what you're planning to bring with you as far as gear and bags and stuff. But before we dive in, let's do a quick wrist check. What do you got on the wrist today?
Yeah, I've got my Elliott Brown black whiteout Holton, so full lume dial
Yeah.
DLC case, GMT, arguably a great travel watch. So,
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean,
it's fitting for the
GMT
theme.
and the fact that you can like probably read that thing in a hotel room, no problem. It's just like lighting up the room, probably.
Yeah, exactly. It glows for a good long time after the lights go
Yeah.
out. So,
What do you know? What kind of lume they use on the dial? Do you know off the top of your
I've
head?
read it off their page, but not off the top of my head. No.
Okay. Yeah, I'm interested to know. It's super bright. Very cool. I don't have a. Do I have a fully lume? No, I don't have a fully lume dial yet. I think at some point I will. I like those. They're fun. I love lume. Like that's like the first thing I test on a new watch is like how good is the lume.
Yeah, it's one of those things that like as a watch enthusiast, you really love it or you
Yeah.
hate it, and you're like
Or you're indifferent,
strictly
maybe.
yeah. Like I don't know many people that could care less, but like I know people that are really for it and people that are really against it, and
Yeah.
it seems very divisive. But I love the lume. I'll
I
take
love
all I
it.
can get.
Watches that don't have it, I'll be honest, like they have never really lasted very long in my collection. Maybe that's not the only thing, but certainly I do feel like I just like a little bit. You know, it's not that hard to just have like at least the hand be loomed.
This is true.
Yeah. What do you have on you, like gear check here? So I'm sure you probably have a multitude of things on you. What's
Kat,
one
you
thing?
know me. I have like an extra
Pocket
10
dump.
pounds of gear on me at all time. Yeah. I've got my California San Francisco exclusive TR3 Integrity from
Yeah.
ProTech. This is a limited they did for our fair. It's kind of the first fair knife, so to speak. But just a really great, awesome blue color with a battle worn finish. So it looks like it came out of the box,
Yeah.
which is great because I know I've put a couple scratches and dings on it already. So
Yeah.
I don't have to feel bad about using my gear.
Yeah. No, I really like that one. Did they sell out of them at the fair?
Yeah, I don't know the exact number. There was a few that kind of went to some local distributors of them, like maybe 2 or 3, but everything that I've seen, they're gone. So, and I meant to pick one up for my dad for Father's Day and completely missed it. So I'll have to pick up something different, but
yeah, maybe we'll
happens.
cross our fingers for a model for another show later this year. We are celebrating 10 years of Windup. I know that there's some special things planned for New York. It's obviously the OG show and will be our last show of the year. We go out with a bang. It's our biggest and best, and I'm kind of excited. I know that there's a few things in the works in the pipeline, and that's going to be one heck of a show. I better not get sick. I will cry if I get sick for that show and I'm not able to attend. Luckily, I've not. Have I missed a windup? No, I guess I've left early, but I've never missed one technically. I did get COVID a few years ago.
You haven't missed since I've been here.
Yeah.
But it does seem like the tail end,
It's
you or somebody else, we always catch
chilly,
something.
You get the sniffles. Things are getting spread. I'm flying there with a ton of people. I'll have to be really careful. But yeah, I hope I can stick around for that show.
Well,
very excited.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Well, Kat, we've on a tangent already, as we always do, but what's on your wrist? What's in your pockets?
Yeah. So on my wrist today is my new to me watch that I bought in San Francisco. This is the Formex Reef with the radiant bronze dial. They did this watch in collaboration with Collective, And I always loved this watch since it came out, was lusting after it for a really long time. And held out just for maybe a variety of reasons. But then they came out with the 39.5 version instead of the 42. And I was like, oh my God, that's killer. That's like even more perfect. And I finally just bit the bullet. They had one more left at Wind Up, and the person that was going to buy it no-showed. So their loss. I bought it. I picked it up.
There you go.
And I love it. And I actually have a piece going live, well, today when we're recording, but it will be live on the site when this podcast comes out. And it's an out of office I did recently in the Dominican Republic. And I brought this watch. So there's some photos there and a quick little write-up for me if you want to check it out. But needless to say, I do love it. It's a great little dive watch. I need to get the bracelet. Formex does bracelets so incredibly well, and I feel like I didn't pick one up because they didn't have one at the time. It just came on rubber, but certainly I'll buy a bracelet separately from them because I feel like that would really put the polishing touch. And it's the black bezel on it, and I want to do the stainless bezel, the stainless steel. And I think that would really complete. I was
going to ask you if you'd already swapped the bezel out.
I will, because I think that's such a cool feature that you can do with Formex watches is you can change the bezels out. So yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing. And then gear wise, I just got this in yesterday. I'll show you the packaging here, and maybe this will go on Instagram or something so people can see. But these are some sunglasses from a brand called Camp. That's on Huckberry.
As soon as you held the box up, I knew who it was from.
Exactly. And I was on their site probably, Memorial Day weekend. They had some sales and stuff. And I just wanted some fun sunglasses. I've gotten into these blue blockers. That's kind of hard to say recently. I think Kyle wears these glasses. They've got the red lenses in them.
Yeah.
They're great to see in kind of like cloudy day environments, personally, I think. And they just kind of brighten everything up. And I really like this idea of, I hate cloudy, muggy. I love sunshine and bright days. And so I've really been into this, I can just wear these sunglasses on cloudy days or in the winter, and it would kind of like lift my mood a little bit. So I have obviously the red from Blue Blocker, but I wanted some yellow ones, and I was hunting around.
Okay.
And I'm going to open this package because look at this little like case here. Look how cute it is. It's got Smokey the Bear.
You've got to describe this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got Smokey the Bear. So Smokey's on the outside of the box, and it says only you, because only you can prevent wildfires. And then it comes with this like little neoprene sunglass case, and Smokey's also like on a patch outside of it, which is super cute. And then the
sunglass case looks like a sleeping bag.
It does. That's a great analogy. It literally looks and feels like a little sleeping bag. But yeah, these glasses are really, really cool. They're made of plant-based bioplastic. Obviously, they're made with like wildfire prevention in mind. And they're yellow and they're polarized too, which is great. So I'm excited to wear these here in the summer. I'll throw my contacts on when I'm usually outside on the weekends. And really, really excited. Packaging is really cool. And it also comes with like a little, what do you call these?
It's like, they're like I hate to say this, but it's glasses? Like the grandma lanyard.
Yeah.
But it's the kind that's made for like anglers that are on water.
Yes, and you can attach them to your glasses so they don't fall off when you're outside and you're outdoors. And it comes even with a Smokey the Bear little microfiber, like I think a great combination. I mean, these probably were on sale. I think they were maybe $50 or $60 with the discount. I don't know what they are like normally priced, maybe a little higher, but just great packaging. I'm so excited to wear these. And now I'm like, I might actually try to find the red ones too and just have the pair. Cause like, I think these are great. They're fun. I like watches and photography and the gear. I like to have multiples of things. I have a lot of sunglasses. I wear glasses every day. Don't even get to wear most of them, but, especially in the summer, I throw my contacts on. I like wearing a sunglass, but, these are really cool. And I gotta say, I just love this packaging. It's so much fun. I was really excited when I got it yesterday.
Little pro tip for all the photogs out there: a pair of sunglasses, great little piece for a flat lay photo. Always adds a little bit. It's always nice to have on you.
Yeah, I always throw them in my bag. I always have a pair on me. But yeah, I really love these. Yeah, I'm excited to wear them. They're very 80s looking, in style. They have a couple different models, but I think I'll definitely go and grab like a red pair for sure, because
Yeah.
I'm truly honest. Like, they will brighten your day. It will lift your mood, especially when it's dark and it's gloomy outside. I've already put these yellow pair on, and I'm just in awe of like, oh yeah, this is gonna be like so nice to have in the winter when there's day after day after day of cloudiness and gloominess, and I just need to get out of that funk. So, yeah. Anyway, really excited about this, and not
Yeah.
sponsored or
Those are
anything. I bought these with my own money. I just want to make sure that that's
no,
very
it's
clear.
it's one of those things that, like, 50, $60, to some degree
Yeah,
sounds expensive for sunglasses, but like
exactly.
I've got
No, I
pairs.
mean, dude,
I've
these
spent two, three
sunglasses
hundred dollars on
nowadays.
pairs before. So,
Yeah.
that's an easy pickup to just,
Yeah, I've spent $200-$300 on sunglasses too. I think for like 50 or $60. That's kind of like a range where it's easy enough to pick up. They're not super cheap. They're polarized. The blue blockers, honestly, are really fun too. I love wearing those. They're very vintage style as well. But yeah, I'm really excited about some sunglasses.
the
But
things
let's
that
get
get
in.
us excited.
I know, anything really. Just spending money on things.
Pretty much.
Yeah, we're very terrible.
Yep.
Well, let's dive into some travel. So, oh my gosh. I mean, obviously Watches and Wonders has come and gone, and I went not 2 weeks later from getting back from that, I headed back to Switzerland with Omega for the 65th anniversary of the NASA qualification of the Omega Moonwatch. It was so much fun. I've never been to Bienne, and like the Omega Museum. Honestly, I didn't even get to see it all, but it is incredibly cool, especially if you're an Omega fan. I got to go hands on with like Ed White's Speedmaster, like the Ed White Speedmaster, and with the first Omega in space, and President Nixon's Speedmaster that he was gifted. It was like so cool to actually hold these watches in hand. I am doing a little photo report, so keep your eye out for that on the site. But just really an incredible experience, and really just cool learning about how Omega really beat these other watch brands for landing to be the first watch worn in space, and or maybe worn on the moon, I should say. There's some others contenders there.
Yeah, definitely first on the moon.
Yeah,
and I
don't know if they can claim first in space.
Technically, no, but I know they are still, to my knowledge, the only NASA
certified. Yeah, NASA certified. Yeah, really cool. They have a huge NASA area there, and honestly, what I wanted to spend time with too is they have a huge Bond area in the museum, and they have like a display case for every single Bond movie since Pierce Brosnan, and the watch that's there also in these cases with like some of his like ID tags and things and props from the movies. It's incredibly cool. If you ever are in Switzerland and you have time to go up there, I would encourage you to go visit the museum. It's incredible. There was a lot that we didn't get to see. Obviously, we were really there for this anniversary. They did take us back to where they do the 3-2-1 movements, where they manufacture those. There's only like 10 to 12 watchmakers that work on those. It's a kind of a separate area altogether, and they do nothing but that all day, every day. And then also where they do like meta certification there too, when they do that in-house there, which was pretty awesome. Unfortunately, no cameras allowed back there, so I could not take any photos. And we did spot a few things that were coming down the pipeline, I think, for Omega, one of which has already been released, that new Railmaster. I didn't get to see that before anyone else did, and I was hush hush about it because I spotted it on a tray. But no, it was a lot of fun and really incredible to see. I love going to watchmaking manufacturers, and I'm sure, Garrett, at some point you will visit these places too. It's inevitable.
My fingers are crossed that
you will 100%.
I'm sure. I'm just waiting for the day.
And we do different projects with some as well, but it is kind of a neat experience. And we spent time, even when we were there for Watches and Wonders, we were doing a project with Soprod, and going back and seeing how they make their movements as well. And I'm always sort of like, I think it gets lost on people. Obviously, these are all, a lot of machinery is used to make some of these movements and parts and assemble. I get that. But at the end of the day, there's people that have their hands on every single watch. And depending on the level of the brand, there's more hands-on aspects of it than others. But at the end, even with, highly manufactured movements like Soprod makes, and they're just pumping them out, there's an aspect that is always hands-on with someone that's looking at these parts and the movements manufactured and assembled and making sure that everything's perfect and aligned. And it always has a human aspect to it. So it's not all just like machinery doing these things. And honestly, even with the machinery, there's humans operating the machines, right?
Yeah.
And looking at them all day. And it's kind of mind-boggling how accurate, like there's machines that literally will like put the rubies in and the tiniest little part, and it's completely accurate each and every time. It's amazing. It really is kind of crazy what these machines can do. Will machines take over in the future? Possibly, maybe, probably. They're kind of crazy, right? I think with AI, I'm just joking, not really. AI, we love you.
I mean, there will always be somebody that has to go and service and calibrate some machine. Even
Absolutely.
if you're calibrating the machine that calibrates the other machine.
Yeah.
But
there's always a human touch to it.
Yeah.
And when you see from start to finish, and this is especially true when we were at SoProd, because we really saw from like the start of the spring all the way to the manufactured, finished assembly of the movement, how many people touch this movement and how many people it goes through. And then you're going to complain about the price of a watch, right? And I'm just like, I understand it. You understand it a bit more. I wish people could see it, and hopefully it becomes more accessible. Obviously, depends on where you live and where you can travel, but it doesn't get lost on you. Like, okay, I understand why these things are maybe cost the way that they cost, and you have a newfound like appreciation for these watches. But yeah, lots of cool watch trips.
And just to put it in perspective, your Omega trip was like 36 hours.
Yeah.
48 hours.
Maybe less.
And then, so literally you went from, and correct me where I go wrong, but you went from Tennessee to up towards New York, right?
Yeah, I think I flew out of DC, maybe.
Okay. So
or
Tennessee,
Newark? Maybe Newark
to DC. Yeah. All right. Wherever, somewhere upper East Coast.
Yeah.
To Switzerland, went to Omega, came back to, I think, JFK
Washington
or Newark. So okay. And then straight to San Francisco for San Francisco windup.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that was kind of like a long haul, probably the longest travel day I've ever had in my life. Cause that flight from Geneva back to DC was probably 8.5, 9 hours. And then
easy. Yeah.
A 3 hour layover. And then another 6 hours to San Francisco. Yeah, it was long. I was so tired. And I will say, like, Omega, they put me in business class, which was so kind of them. And I appreciated that. And I think really helped with that long leg of a trip. But oh my gosh, it's a lot of travel. Like, it was so much travel. And it's weird because like you kind of sleep a lot, but then when you finally land, you're just really tired. I think it's like all the stress of traveling. Like my body's tense and I'm a little bit more stressed. Probably my blood pressure is a little higher. And then when you finally get to where you're going, you can kind of finally just like let go a little bit. And I always do that when I get home. When Jonathan picks me up at the airport, dude, in 5 minutes, I am out in that car. I'm asleep. I'm snoring. I'm finally, my body can just be like, oh, relax. And that's exactly what happened when I landed in San Francisco. I like crash at the hotel room as soon as I got there.
I just remember you texting and was like, I'm on the ground, I'm going to sleep. And I was like, yeah, we all understand, Kat.
Yeah, I just went straight to bed. No, but I think we both have a love for the San Francisco wind-up fair. I know you traveled with all of our work peeps together,
which was fun because last year I was like, coming into the team, and so like, and this is peek behind
anniversary too. Yeah.
So peek behind the curtain, I had booked travel to San Francisco before like we had solidified everything.
Okay.
And so I flew out on a different plane from a different airport. I landed and then like got to meet everybody on the team. So it was really nice this year to like, hey, we're going back. Now you're actually part of the team. Fly with us.
Yeah, you have to feel like you were part of the team. No, congratulations, Garrett, on
Appreciate
1 year at Worn and Wound. You did celebrate that at Wind Up. I can't believe that your first day on the job was Wind Up San Francisco last year. That's pretty intimidating first day. Obviously, we didn't scare you away, and you're still around.
I'm still here. Haven't got rid of me yet.
No, we won't get rid of you. We love you. But yeah, it's been awesome to have you. And what are your thoughts from San Francisco coming back as 1 year employee at the company and things have probably shifted in your opinion of like the show maybe, and obviously it changed. We grew a little bit this year too. We had more brands, and
Yeah.
it seems like EDC Alley was like a little bit bigger this year, thanks in part to you too, and a lot of the connections that you've brought from the EDC world.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, obviously it's always great to have our EDC brands there. I mean, if you've talked to me or heard me talk here or talked to me in person or on Slack, you know that, I mean, like I said at the start of the pod, I always have 10 pounds of gear in my pockets that I don't need. And, but, you know, it's just every show we do, from, you know, the full circuit that we did last year, plus adding in Dallas this year, like every show we do, we just polish it a little bit more. And so, like, granted, I think it was probably because I knew what to expect, but like load in felt smoother, load out felt way smoother than it did last year.
Yeah.
You know, and it's great to see the show kind of grow and change and pick up new aspects as it continuously will. You know, we've got great people that work on that. So thankfully, you know, for us, we kind of get to show up and set up, and then we rock our media jobs and roll with it. So, but you know, it's great. I mean, obviously, you know, fantastic to be back in the same venue, which is a photographer's dream. Plenty of natural light, white walls.
Big
just
skylights
no complaints
throughout
about
the whole
San
building.
Francisco.
Yeah, it is beautiful. It really is beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous.
It's the coolest building, you know, there on the pier, and you know, you just look outside and you see the waves, and you see the, you know, the Golden Gate Bridge and Alcatraz, and it's just really cool. It's just like such an awesome spot, and just beautiful, and the people are so nice and kind, and you know, there's a lot of dogs that come by. I'm always there for the dog content, you know.
Plenty of dogs, yeah.
Yeah. But no, it was a great show. Thanks to all, if you're listening and you came out, we really appreciate it. You make it much, much, much better for us, and well worth our while to come out to these shows and keep coming and supporting, you know, more than ever too, especially with the way things are going nowadays. I was going to talk quickly. So just to give you an overview, what happened was I went to Switzerland for Omega, flew straight to San Francisco for Wind Up, which was, 3 or 4 days. And then I had a big road trip right after San Francisco. So I was going to drive the coast from San Francisco all the way down to Santa Barbara, which was going to take 3 or 4 days as well. And I had to pack for all of that in one trip. So, you know, business like with Omega, and in Switzerland, and then casual for San Francisco, and then basically the same for the road trip. But along with that, I had to take a lot of photo gear because I knew I had this road trip coming up with Citizen. They sent me out there with the new Unite with Blue collection of watches, and I was doing a campaign, which is live on the site if you want to check that out. We'll put it in the link we'll put the link in the show notes if you want to. But I had to bring, you know, heavy hitters, right? So I had the Fuji GFX 50R 55 millimeter GF lens, which is a beast on that thing. Also a GF 100 to 200. These medium format lenses are not small or light.
No,
they're heavy
not.
as heck.
Yeah.
And I had to bring both of those and the film camera. And I had the Ricoh too, just as a little pocket camera to take with. So I had all these cameras with me and gear. And for the trip, I decided to bring the Peak Design 30-liter camera backpack, which worked out wonderfully for most of the gear. It was heavy. I'm not gonna lie, like the bag was heavy, but it fit my 16-inch, you know, MacBook Pro along with all the gear. And then I had my big away, like I have the extra large, like check-in size. I was like, I'm not even gonna try to carry on. I got too much clothes to bring. Just checked a bag. It luckily never got lost. Made its way everywhere. And I know it's always a little risky. And I always like, you know, for people listening, a really good thing to do when you do that is like bring one set of clothes and maybe a few toiletry items with you in your backpack, so that just in case your bag doesn't make it where you are for a day or so, you've got just a change of clothes, at least at bare minimum, some deodorant and toothbrush and things like that you can quickly just access in case. And I've had that happen. Luckily on my way home and never like on my way somewhere else, knock on wood. It doesn't ever happen. It's a bummer when it does, and I think we've all been there. So yeah, I had those 2 pieces of gear, and then at the fair, I got to grab the new Nomadic Peter McKinnon 15-liter sling, which I ended up using on the Citizen trip, and really having a place to be able to change lenses on the go, because we were often out of the car on trails and stuff. and also just have a place to change film, because I was using a film medium format camera, the GA645ZI. It's a big numbers for this camera. It's not really
Yeah,
named
that
anything
is
cooler than that.
it's
It
not a
is
sleek
a
name.
Fuji medium format point and shoot camera, which is pretty fun and quirky. But yeah, I had, those two cameras. It was great to have that sling. That sling weighed a lot. I think maybe I had it overweighted a little bit. Just all that pressure on one shoulder can be a lot after a while. I would not recommend you doing that and like going hiking with it. And we were doing a little bit of hiking and I was a little sore, I'm not gonna lie, but I think a lighter setup, probably what I just have normally, like my normal kind of day-to-day camera setup, would have been perfectly fine. But I love that bag. I mean, it's no secret I love Nomadic, and again, not sponsored at all, just saying. I love the Peter McKinnon line. I think it's one of the best cameras, lines out there as far as really oriented towards the photographer. There's always like these little things. They're super small, and I can just tell they really pay attention to the details. Same with Peak too. I'm not gonna lie. I love my Coyote colored Peak backpack. That thing is awesome. What did you end up taking to San Francisco with all your gear that you were traveling with?
I'm trying to remember.
You had your Pelican, right? Or some sort of
so I have given up the thought that I will travel with clothes in my carry-on because I'm too afraid of a full flight and hearing those dreaded words of it's a full flight after X number of bags or checking.
Yeah.
And so when I, travel with us, I carry about a 30-ish liter backpack. So I used a Tom Ben Scenic 30, not Scenic. Scenic or Synapse. I'm drawing a blank. Definitely was a 30 liter, was a Guides edition, which
Guides edition?
Yeah, so they like Tom Ben does really everything they do is a black back panel with black straps and then a color accent all throughout. And then the bag itself will be different colors. But for the Guides edition, because it's for people that are quote unquote outdoors, the back panel and everything is Coyote. So a little bit of a different coloration. But I had that with, tech essentials, my camera body and a lens, and my computer, and then plus headphones, whole 9 yards. And then I had a rolling Nanook case with the rest of my camera kit, our shot body, extra lenses, big. It took 100 to 400, which is massively overkill for our venue, but our venue is bright enough that I can use it. So, when in Rome, go for it.
That's awesome. What did you like? Has anything changed from what you brought last year to this year at the show?
Trying to think. So,
or any in general, year, like when you fly in general with a bunch of gear.
I mean, really, I
always bring more or less.
I'm trying to cut back. I always bring way more than I need. But I always try to make sure that, camera and important kit goes with me at all times. And then, if I can get clothes in an extra bag or a duffel, I'll do that. But I think really the biggest change is just, submitting to, I'm going to check a bag with clothing.
Yeah.
I have to.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard when you're bringing a lot of camera gear to have a carry-on and then a small bag that you obviously want just for city strolling and things like that. Yeah. And then also have a bag of clothes. It's always a struggle. I think as long, when you're doing these nonstop flights, at least there's a peace of mind. If you do get checked at the gate, your bag is making it 100% on that flight.
Yeah.
It's when you check the bag in when you arrive at the airport. You never really know. Also, here's a little tip for everybody. Put a dang AirTag in them just for peace of mind, because sometimes you don't know if it made it until you land, which kind of sucks. But I've started doing that ever since I did have a lost bag on a Switzerland flight coming back home one time. It's just nice to know, like, I can track it. I'm like, okay, it made it on the plane. It's underneath me. I can see it. And yeah, I think that's a great little tip. Surprisingly, I had to go and change all of my AirTag batteries died at the same time. I think that I just had opened the pack all at once, and then right before this trip, I charged them all, and I had one in every bag. So like in my carry-on, in my checked-in bag, in my photography bag, and I've got them all labeled too, and can keep track in case something ever does get stolen. Usually when these thieves and stuff steal, they don't immediately rummage through. They just take it and they go off. And so there's a bit of time to track it. Doesn't always work. And I'm sure people nowadays look for these things, but peace of mind, it's nice to have in case you ever just lose track of it too.
Yeah, that's the biggest, change that I haven't made yet, but I am making. So right before San Francisco, I bit the bullet. I went full team Apple finally. So I got the
I
new,
know.
yeah, I got an iPhone 16 Pro Max. I picked up a MacBook Pro for myself. So, and then I just recently got AirTags like last week. And I was telling Blake today, we went and grabbed lunch, and I was like, I got a notification on my phone. It's like, hey, your bag's not with you. And I was like, I hadn't even thought about it. It's sitting in the office, but to get that little pop up alert, we were 20 feet down the road. And I was like, this is phenomenal. I understand why people that love the Apple ecosystem love the system like they do.
Yeah. Glad that you're over on iPhone. Now our message is you're blue, no longer green. Not that it matters. I know it matters for some people. But I like Apple. I'm not like loyal to the brand or anything. It's just more of an ease. Like I use a MacBook for work, have an iPad for home. It's nice that it all is compatible. I have an Apple Watch as well that I wear occasionally when I'm working out on the weekends. I like that everything's just synced. It's nice when I need to access a photo on my computer that I've taken on my phone, and I can open photos on my laptop. Boom, there's my last shots of my dog or watch or whatever I need, and it's constantly
we
synced
did that
with each
in
other.
San Francisco. I shot some photos and airdropped them over to you, and kind of you handled the back end edit, post, whole nine yards. So
Yeah,
it really, it's an ecosystem that once you integrate, it works really, really well together.
Yeah. So I want to just quickly, I know we're already about halfway through our time here, but I want to quickly just go over what the Citizen trip was, because I saw some really cool things. Yeah, and again, if you want to read that whole journal, it is live on Worn and Wound. And so what it was is I went out there with these new Unite with Blue watches. Sea of Silence is the new sort of name of this collection. I primarily wore the Citizen ProMaster Diver Unite with Blue, and then the Atessa World Timer. Just kind of those two were my sort of heroes of the shoot. I did get some group shots with all of them, but ultimately, like, those were the ones I wanted to wear. I really loved this ProMaster. It's got such like a 80s vibe and look to it. There's a sort of lime green lettering on the dial, which really pops against the dark blue.
Okay. Yeah.
I love this watch. Honestly, it's a watch I would personally buy with my own money. I know this was a sponsored project, but like, it's something that I would literally go buy today and have been thinking about, honestly, because I really did love wearing it. It's big, it's bulky, it's steel. Like it's like my kind of watch. And it's like a lugless watch. So, the has like these great rubber straps that integrate inside of it. But because it's lugless, like, it's a big watch. Yes, I think it's 44 millimeters. Don't quote me on that. I think it's around 44. I don't have the specs actually like pulled up. It's around that. And that sounds big, right? But on my 7.5 inch wrist, it wore really well. Like, it really, really wore well. And again, because it doesn't have those lugs, it doesn't really overhang my wrist or anything. It was very, very comfortable. But just totally like such a cat watch, like over-engineered, big, kind of obnoxious, just like the exact kind of diver that I love wearing. I love these types of watches.
A really bold blue.
Yeah.
Like very bold.
And what's crazy is, so like, and this is something I didn't know ahead of this, was that Fujifilm collaborates with Citizen on making these dials, or they collaborate with Fujifilm on making these dials, on this technology. So it's like not painted, it's non-pigmented, and they layer these polycarbonate layers on top of the dial because they need light to come through. These are EcoDrive watches. So they need the light to be able to kind of come through the dial. And something I also didn't realize, and I kind of talk about this in the article, is that I've owned EcoDrive watches. I don't know why I always thought it had to be powered by the sun. They don't. They're powered by any light. Granted, it might not be as strong of a charge like that you're going to get from your desk lamp or inside of a building, but they do charge from any light, which is pretty amazing. And the fact that they've been doing this for almost 50 years, just found quite interesting and shocking. That I didn't know that as like a watch collector and enthusiast. Like that information just kind of passed me by over the years. So it was just really cool to learn about that stuff. And so yeah, when they came to me with this project, I was like, well, I have to shoot this on Fujifilm because they collaborated with them. I didn't have to. Okay, I told myself I needed to.
Yeah. These are
And
the kind of problems we create for ourselves.
Of course. I was like, I have to get the GFX 50R. This camera I loved. It's a big, bulky, like Texas Leica almost camera. And yes, I went out and bought one for this shoot. I also bought the film camera for this shoot because I was just so excited. These are also older cameras that you're not really like able to rent anymore. So I went probably the extra mile here. But yeah, I loved shooting again with medium format. It is fun. Like, it slows you down. Reminds me a little bit about, how you shoot with like a film camera or an M, camera from Leica, or just a manual focus camera. But with at least the GFX 50R and honestly the GA645 camera, they're autofocus. So like, it's slower autofocus, but you still have it, and it's more than capable. There's photos in the set I took of some seals, some elephant seals. And I was more than capable of capturing them in motion, their mouths wide open. They're sort of playing with each other and barking at each other. So you can totally use these slower medium format cameras for wildlife, I think. Maybe it's going to be hard to capture a hummingbird. You're trying to shoot that or something, but a big old seal in the water, whales, any sort of mammal, really, I think totally capable of shooting with. I think oftentimes we all do this. We get so wrapped up in specs. These cameras nowadays, like, they are crazy good, and all we ask is that they get better and better. And at some point, it's like, they're not gonna, like, you're gonna reach like a plateau of like how many frames per second you can shoot with. And yeah, I agree. I understand like maybe 10 to 12 frames per second isn't a lot, but back when we only had 1 frame per second, like, it's nice.
Well, and you think about think about realistically what you're going to shoot.
Yeah.
Like, if you're just taking, family portraits, or like you want to capture your kid or your dog running around, you don't need 30 frames a second, or, whatever the newest, like the Sony A1, I think it is, shoots 120 frames a second burst. Granted, it's a small burst, but like, there's obviously a need for these specs, but even us a lot of times can get by with a generation or two old gear that's more than good enough.
Yeah, I think you can totally, and yeah, to your point, I'm shooting with a film camera that's from the 90s, and a digital camera that's like 10 or 12 years old. I don't remember when the 50R came out, but it's got to be at least 10 years old at this point.
Are you shooting with a film camera that's older than me?
Wait. We won't say your birth year on air, but
no, I'm fine with that.
It's very possible.
Well, if it's pre 2000, it's that's within a month or two. We'll put it that
it's pre 2000 for sure.
Yeah. So all right, cool. You're shooting with a camera older than
you.
There you go.
But no, it was fun. I was so scared when I got back, and a big reason I shot digital was that, yes, I wanted to shoot some side by side with Fuji technology, but I also wanted to back up in case like the film photos came out like crap, which they did not. Yeah. Luckily, there were some that did. There was some trial and error, but it's a point and shoot film camera, so it's like it's hard to really mess up as long as you're taking your time and you have good film stock inside the camera. I lucked out in oh man, I have to look in my DMs, but if you reached out to me, you know who you are. Thank you so much. You saw my story post where I was like, I really need some Fujifilm film stock, and it's hard to find because they discontinued making film. I don't know, like a year or two ago. So it was like almost impossible.
Yeah, not only Fujifilm film, but Fujifilm film medium format, which is a step above.
Yeah. So I had a guy reach out to me. Oh my gosh, and I'm so sorry I forget your name. I'll give you credit in the show notes after I look through all my DMs. But he reached out and had a couple boxes that I bought off of him, and totally was enough to get me through. Honestly, I probably was really conservative. Came back with several rolls that I kind of wish I had used up. I was just kind of scared, and you're in your head of like, oh man, I'm running out. You only have 16 shots per roll. It's not a lot, and you feel like you're going through them pretty quickly. But yeah, looking back, I do wish I just like bit the bullet and just used it up all the film that I had. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to get back into film. I hadn't shot it since probably COVID, and being around the house. I've got an old like Canon AE1 on the shelf over there, just 35 millimeter, but I've never shot medium format. And the level of detail, I don't know if you could probably see it through the webpage, because unfortunately, this our website crunches these photos even more when we upload them. But maybe I'll put a link or something to some high res shots that people can check out. But like, there's so much detail, and the lab delivered them in like a high resolution JPEG, and I just had all of the detail and sharpness there, and they're great. I mean, for a film camera, and totally more than enough for website use, social, and all that kind of stuff. I think something else I want to just quickly call out, if you're a Fujifilm fan, or maybe you're like thinking about getting into Fuji, they're super popular now, right? We have the X100V or X100VI, right? Is that the
6.
latest?
Yep.
They're on 6 now. And then I can't even remember what that little one is that they just came out with. Like, that's like literally just JPEGs.
The X half.
X
half,
or something like that.
Some variation, yeah.
But if you're thinking about getting into these, because everyone loves Fuji colors, that's what they're really known for.
Mm-hmm.
What was really cool is I edited all my digital photos based on the recipe of the film I was shooting. I was shooting 400H Pro film. Guess what? Fuji has in like stock, like on the Camera Raw profile, you have a profile that is the Pro 400. I put that on, and nearly without even doing much touching, they were very close. And then I had to just tweak the white balance a little bit to maybe match some of the film photos. But I really tried to edit them as closely as possible, so that when people were looking at this article, they wouldn't be able to tell which ones were shot on film, which ones were shot digitally. Actually, I'd almost like, I kind of want to see if people go on there and see if you can tell me which, like, bonus points. I'll give you like an adapt strap if you can name all the photos that were shot on digital. I'll send a strap to you. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and just like a challenge to myself to try to match up those photos. Just a lot of fun. We love just playing around, taking photos.
That's really what it is. It's 100%.
Yeah. But yeah, this road trip was amazing. We went from San Francisco down to Monterey, and then Carmel, and then we went down the coast to Cambria, which is close to where we saw the elephant seals, which was really cool to learn about them. You'll see lots of seal shots in the article. And where else did we go after that? Oh, we went down to SLO, which is San. I always like get tongue tied saying the San Luis Obispo, which I think is why people call it SLO, because that is like really hard to say.
That's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful. It's a fun little town. It's a little Spanish town, very cute. And then we went down to Santa Barbara from there, and we stopped at Solvang before reaching Santa Barbara, which is the Danish capital of America, in case you didn't know. This is where they filmed the movie Sideways, if you're a fan of Sideways. Paul Giamatti. Great film. If you haven't watched it, please do. But it is so cute. You look like it looks like you're on a movie set, really, truly, when you're there. Just really awesome. But yeah, this was a really fun trip. And I mean, thanks to Citizen for sending me out there with these watches. I really, really adored the ProMaster. Again, probably adding that to my collection. Oh my gosh, can't believe I'm saying that. I don't need to buy any more watches.
This is how, if you ever wondered how watch people buy watches, especially like in the industry, this is what happens.
Yeah,
we do something with a watch,
sometimes.
and then we're like, I love that. I loved it on my wrist. I got to add it. And
then I've just been thinking about it since I sent it back. I'm like, oh man, I really just loved wearing that's a great summer dive watch. I will just quickly call out the Atessa, because I wore that for a few days too. This watch is like really insane. It's like 40.5 millimeters, world time, sapphire crystal, date, perpetual calendar, eco drive. Like, I mean, honestly, if you're looking at a buy one, watch for the rest of your life, like that's it. Yeah. That's got everything you need. And it's water resistance too, on top of that, to like 300 something feet. Like, that's crazy. Screw down crown.
That's like a buy once
and super once. Titanium on top of all of that. Like, that is like, and I'm not just saying that because this trip was sponsored by Citizen. Like, that is truly an amazing watch to have, all for like $1,200. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's
absolutely
a
insane.
lot of features packed in there.
And it's beautiful. That Unite with Blue dial, I'm telling you, looks like the ocean. I had the watch on my wrist. I was looking out at the ocean and I was like, it encapsulates the layers and the waves and the different dark colors of the water. Like it truly does. Like I'm not just making that up. Like it literally looks like it. It's absolutely gorgeous. Most of these like more affordable perpetual calendars are just not for me, but like I could totally see myself buying this. I'm not a huge like I don't even love like perpetual calendars in general. Like they're not it's not like my favorite movement that I'm looking out for, probably because I can't afford it half the time, if I'm being honest. But the fact that you get a perpetual, you get an eco dry, super titanium, water resistant, anti-reflective sapphire, like it's just like bang, 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 bang. Checked all the list, all the boxes essentially. So yeah, if you haven't seen this watch, we'll link them down below. You can check them out. But definitely, it's a great watch. I think it fit my wrists really well, and I think it's a great like 40.6 or 40.5 is like just a great size. And the dial is just so beautiful. Yeah, but on both of these, yeah, different vibes with the Atessa and the ProMaster. Obviously, like they could not be more opposite. Different. But yeah, I was getting like, when you want to buy that one sports watch that just like does everything, it's kind of like the Aquaterra in a way, right? Like that's it. The Atessa is that. Like it's just it checks all the boxes. A great travel watch too. But that ProMaster still on my mind. I have to snap one up. They're limited, so I might need to buy one.
I'll wait for the wrist shot, and then I'll just I'll give you the normal little push that we always give each other when we buy watches and we say we're not going to.
I know. Well, let's talk about you for a second, Garrett. So you're about to head by the end of the weekend, basically. You're going to be heading into Alaska for a fun trip.
Yeah. So
tell us a little bit about your travels and what you're going to be doing, and also hear what you're packing with you.
This is wonderful. I have nothing planned.
What? Wait, what?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm very used to, I'm going to plan every minute of my travels, and I'm going to have events every day. And I'm going to Alaska with my long-term girlfriend who's going to a science conference. And so she'll be tied up some days doing her research presentations, and I'm going to have time to myself. We're going to be in Anchorage, and I've just planned nothing. So I'm taking a couple things that I'm going to try out, one of which is the new-ish Matador Globe Rider 35, and I'm going to treat it like one bag. I'm not taking massive camera kit, so I'm going to try to actually travel with all my clothes, which will be a first in a long time. But I'm just going to see what I get into. I might book a fishing charter. I might go sit on the coast. I might find a cafe. I have no plans, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, that's really cool. There's something to just like not having a plan, right? You kind of know the general A to B of the day, but then you get to figure out what you want to do. And I kind of did that with the road trip too. I knew my final destination at the end of the day where I needed to go, but all the little stops along the way, where we were going to eat, where we were going to, stop to get gas, I didn't really know. It was just like, we'll figure it out, And I think there's something kind of fun and adventurous about that too, and taking these little turns, and then they kind of turn into really cool spots. I've got these really cool spots too, if you want to check out the article, and I'm sure you will too on your trip. You're going to turn a corner and find something that's really amazing.
Exactly. Well, I figure I'll be out walking around and I'll find something and it'll just be like, yep, that's it. That was the goal for the day. Or I'll, pop in and grab a drink and ask a local, like, hey, what's a good dinner spot? What's a good lunch spot?
Mm-hmm.
Where can I go sit on my computer and edit photos for a couple hours? And we're just going to figure it out. We'll see. I've heard they have a good zoo up there with a lot of, obviously colder climate based animals.
Yeah.
So
big
maybe I'll
animals.
check that out.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Take a train ride.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That's fun. You should do some whale watching while you're out there.
I'm going to try.
I did an Alaskan cruise like maybe 8 or so years ago with Jonathan, and I was wildly sick on this trip. I've learned since then I do not belong on big cruise ships. I can go on a little boat for a little while, like that doesn't really bother me. It's weird. I know. It's it's the all day, just like the little bit of motion that you get with like just walking on a cruise. I don't know. It just got to me, being on the boat for full 7 days essentially. When I was off the boat, I was fine. But we did go whale watching. I was, again, totally fine on the smaller boat. Maybe it was adrenaline from seeing whales. I don't know, but I was fine. And we got to see some blue whales and great whales. And yeah, it was really, really fun. And them coming out and splashing in the water and stuff. And at the time, I didn't have the photography kit I have now. And I kind of was like, oh. And we were going to go whale watching. I'll say we were going to go whale watching in California. And it got really, really windy. And our cruise got canceled just because of the high winds. And the waters were so choppy. I'm been barfing over the side of the boat for sure, I think. But definitely have whale watching on my to-do list to do more of. I would love to go see the orcas, out in California. But yeah, definitely you're going to be up there, dude. Go whale watching. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I've got, I think I come in early Monday morning on a red eye from Atlanta, and we'll just figure it out. I think I fly back out late Thursday, so I've got 4 days.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
Yeah,
and
if I
good
go
weather too.
Yes. Oh, yes. It's, we're starting to hit that really wonderful, warm and interesting smell season in the city. Yeah. If you've been to New York in the summer, you know exactly what I mean. And I'm sorry that you understand that. But, I think Anchorage right now is like a high of 58 or 60. So I'm breaking the pants back out and light sweatshirts, and I'm just going to have a blast.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. What did you, I don't know if maybe I missed this. Did you mention what bag you're taking with you? Like your
it's
kit for your photography stuff?
Globe 35 from Matador for the bag, which is kind of like a duffel style pack.
I don't know that I've seen that bag. You'll have to show me a picture of it.
Yeah, it's one of their newer ones. They did a 40 a couple years ago, and then they slimmed it down just a little bit. But camera cube, I'm having that internal struggle of, do I take the big boy 100 to 400, which I know I should.
You should.
But it's heavy.
I know, but you'll regret not having it with wildlife. It's such a wildlife place, and you'll see bald eagles and things like that. What'd you say?
I said, I know you're right. I can already feel the weight on my shoulders.
I know, but again, I know how that is, and it sucks. But unless you're going like major hiking where you feel like that weight is really going to get to you, like I would say take it with you, because you're just going to get some amazing wildlife shots with it.
Yeah. It'll make it. Me, you, everybody listening to this will know that I will pack the lens last minute and then be happy that I did.
Yeah, totally. Always pack more. More than we need.
Yep. It's always an extra lens, an extra battery.
I know. And I think like,
gotta be safe.
You could take something else and you could crop in. You're gonna have a high resolution camera. Yes, you could do that. But there's nothing that compares to the compression I think that you get from those telephoto lenses. And that's what makes those animal photos really pop when you see them, because they've got these huge lenses on them. Yeah. And you really have the separation between the ground and the animal and the backdrop. And
I was in Yellowstone last year, which would probably similar distances, I hope, between wildlife, and I had 100 to 400 there.
Yeah.
And I wish I had the 200 to 600. And then as you start thinking about it, you're like, they make an 800.
Ooh, my God.
It's like 10 grand, but
maybe don't go that far yet.
No, I don't need anything that overkill. But I've made up the mind. The 100 to 400 will come on the trip, along with a 24 to 70, and who knows what else.
No, well, that's awesome. Well, I can't wait. When you get back, we'll do another podcast. We'll talk about your trip and hopefully some animals that you saw along the way. I'm here for it.
We'll see. Yeah, hopefully from safe distances. And
be safe.
Come back with no bears. Unintentional scars.
I hope not. Let's not say that. Let's not manifest that. But thanks, thanks for jumping on with me today, Garrett. And for all those listening, thanks for tuning in to Changing Gears. We love doing these podcasts where we get to kind of branch out from the watch talk, even though we did talk a bit about watches today.
Always. We can't get away from it.
We can't. Can't escape it. Let us know if you like the episode, and we'll make sure we have links to all the things we talked about today in the show notes for you to check out. Check out the Citizen piece. Check out my out of office from. I didn't even talk about Dominican Republic, dude. We ran out of time. I also just came back from the Dominican. I did a cool out of office there with this Formex. So go check that out if you want to see some cool tropical photos. And if you need any tips from where to go in the Dominican, hit me up. I'll let you know where we stayed. It was a really, really amazing place. Not that expensive, and felt like we truly had VIP experience while we were there. So
I need to get that information from
I will share it with you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks everyone. And we will chat with you next time.